Hi there. I don't know what time it is, actually. I forgot to check. Oh, here it is. Um, anyway. um, we're reading Keep on Pushing: Hot Lessons from Cool Runnings by Devon Harris, who was an Olympic athlete. And we're in the introduction. So I think I'll just read you a little bit and see how far we go. We're starting the book. So he says this: I wrote Keep on Pushing to engage you in a conversation about how you can always push yourself past the obstacles in your life to higher levels of achievement. I wrote it to inspire you and to give you tools that worked for me as well as my corporate clients. Tools that you can immediately apply to your life. In keeping with my desire to both encourage and challenge, and my wish to see you apply the lessons that I am passing on to you in this book, you will find a section at the end of each chapter entitled Key Points to Remember. These are the most salient points in the chapter. Review them frequently. They will serve as your own motivational booster to get you through the day. In time, you will find that they have significantly influenced your thinking as you embrace this philosophy of keep on pushing. You will also find an assignment at the end of each chapter. Put time aside to do them. My suggestion is that you read through the book once and then, as you go through it again, perhaps more slowly, spend some time digesting the key points to remember before completing each assignment and moving to the next chapter. You will notice that I have included quotes from several well-known persons, as well as some whom you may not easily recognize. That's because I believe that everyone who has succeeded, whether they are famous or less well-known, can contribute to our growth and development. As a result, I have taken inspiration from all of them. I hope you will too, says Devon Harris. You will read about how I made up my own training programs in high school after reading books on middle distance running. I encourage you to do the same here. No one knows you and your heart's desire the way you do. It is your life. Shape it in the way you want. This book is a tool to help you dream, plan, and execute. So use it. And as always, keep on pushing. This is Devon Harris. Now, one thing in this chapter that got me is a photo of the author revisiting the house he grew up in on Sunrise Drive in Olympic Gardens. 7 of us lived here, he says. So this is the author, and this is the place he visited. And that is the place he lived in. And he says he grew up there. So you can imagine your life is not as simple as that. And when life is very simple, you can see where your dreams are very, very clearly. Whereas when we grow up in places of prosperity that we have, there's a Chinese saying that I know of that says, "身在福中不知福." It means you were born in wealth, so you don't understand what wealth is. So we look at this picture and we realize that we're not so underprivileged or deprived as we might have thought at any time. And think of it this way: most people in the world live this way, that they grow up that way. So if you ever think of boohoo, why me, why me, why me, don't do that. Keep on pushing. Ralph Ransom is quoted here, he's an American writer, as saying, Man was created as a being who should constantly keep improving, a being who, upon reaching one goal, sets a higher one. In bobsledding, boom, right there. That's his lesson. This is lesson one. In bobsledding, the uninformed observer only sees at the start the massive pushing of the sled from the starting blocks. However, anyone who has learned how to push a bobsled knows that there are different phases of the push, each designed to apply constant pressure on the sled while exerting maximum effort and ultimately attaining the best result. First, there is the explosive force of the push on the sled as the team pushers overcome inertia to get the 650-pound mass of fiberglass and metal moving. Should they stop there, the sled would eventually come to a stop or slowly trickle along the slippery ice until gravity starts pulling it down the track. From there, they transition into their running form, plowing through the first 15 meters of the ice, constantly applying pressure to the sled and accelerating down the hill. A common mistake that most beginner brakemen make is to take their hands off the push bar as they transition from their initial burst of force on the sled to a normal running form. The secret is to rotate your hands as you change grips. If you take, try read the Quran. I have the Quran. Why don't you try reading the Bible? The secret is to rotate your hands as you change grips. If you take your hands off the push bar, you run the risk of falling. As the sled comes out of the blocks, the brakeman's body is at about a 30-degree angle. This position leaves him slightly off balance, with the piston-like movement of his feet keeping him ahead of the sled. His hands on the push bar keep him balanced until he is able to get into a normal running form. The other important reason to always keep your hands on the push bar is that if you remove them even for a split second, you are not pushing and are therefore wasting valuable time. When the sled is going as fast as the pusher is running, he is in effect no longer pushing. At that point, he jumps in, using his momentum and the weight of his body to give the sled one final jolt forward. Because the start is such a critical part of the race, it is important that the athlete keeps pushing the sled until it has developed enough momentum to travel under its own power. Once the sled is traveling under its own power, applying the brakes will slow it down. But its momentum and the pull of gravity means that it is virtually impossible to stop it. The same holds true for us in life. Every desire, every worthwhile goal, every dream that you have in life is sitting on its equivalent of a 650-pound bobsled. In order to make them a reality, you must launch with maximum effort and then continue to push forward with zest. As with the bobsled athlete, when you begin to make steady progress towards your goals, you must maintain the intensity. This builds up momentum and gives you the best chance of reaching your full potential. I believe that life is a process of constant pushing. Keep on pushing speaks to the idea of persevering, being persistent, never giving up. It is impossible to achieve high level success without meeting opposition, without having to face a 650-pound sled at the start of your journey. Success dictates that you keep pushing these challenges out of the way or push yourself over the barriers. Keep on pushing also embodies the concept of redefining your limits, constantly going beyond what you originally thought was possible, growing, striving to reach your full potential, and embracing change. It is this aspect of keep on pushing that I would like to focus on next, says the author, Devon Harris. Lesson 1, Chapter 1. Enlarge your vision of what's possible. Now, let's see, we've read for 10 minutes. I will read Chapter 1. It will give us, a little bit. Enlarge your vision of what's possible. Dale Carnegie, American writer and lecturer, said, quote, "We all have possibilities we don't know about. We can do things we don't even dream we can do. Human beings are designed and created for great success. Deep in our core lies an innate and powerful desire for full expression of our abilities. There is a seed of greatness in everyone, and each person is at least remotely aware of the incredible things they could do with their lives. This is why we live so vicariously through our heroes, star athletes, pop icons, Hollywood celebrities, and so on. Observe children at play or daydreaming. They all imagine themselves as someone great, a superhero, a famous actor, a stellar athlete. I have never seen a child at play pretending to be an ordinary Joe. I suspect that children have always been this way, but technology, economics, and social factors prevented most from pursuing their visions of greatness. Unfortunately, after they outgrew the Superman cape, many of these kids allowed themselves to be saddled by a very limited view of what is possible in their lives and never adjusted their self imposed limitations even into adulthood. Today, the opportunities exist for everyone to use their particular mix of talents and attributes to achieve something great in life. Despite the evaporation of trillions of dollars from the stock market, there are still more self made millionaires than there were 5 or 10 years ago. In every area of human endeavor, science, business, art, politics, sports, people are soaring to heights never before imagined. Yet, success still eludes many. Unfortunately, they have succumbed to the challenges of life and have settled for just getting by. You have the ability to join the ranks of those who have found success and happiness. You have the ability to achieve far more than you have achieved up to this point. All you have to do is keep on pushing beyond the status quo. It is almost criminal how far below our full potential many of us live our lives. We have allowed the circumstances of our birth, society, and the economy to determine the level of our success. I believe that those excuses are almost laughable today. No matter your circumstances, there are many with similar conditions who found a way to rise above them. The great secret, quote, end quote, to their success and yours as well is this, colon, it doesn't matter where you are coming from. All that matters is where you are going. Neither your past nor your current situation has to be equal to your future. Renowned American psychologist Abraham Maslow said, quote, "People have a tendency to settle for far less from life than they are truly capable of," end of quote. Many are stuck in dead end relationships, grappling with floundering businesses, or twirling their thumbs in dead end careers when they should be moving rapidly onward and upward. The goal, the singular focus at the top of a bobsled track, is to have the fastest start. A fast start gives the team a reasonable chance of winning the race. Granted, the team still has to negotiate the rigorous turns up ahead, all of which present their own unique set of challenges. But that is simply accepted as the price you pay to reap success. The push is key, and at the start of every race, you can hear coaches and supporters shouting, "Big push! Big push!" egging their team on and getting them juiced up for this important part of the race. And even though the push is only used to describe what happens at the start, the driver must keep on pushing during the run. Hanging back, as I used to do in my middle distance races, and going for the big kick at the end is not a luxury he can afford. He is constantly pushing himself to the edge of his abilities to get the sled down the track as fast as possible. In the bobsled race of life, the individuals, companies, and organizations who continue to push hard after overcoming the initial inertia at the start are those who often enjoy meteoric rise and success. Although we have the ability to deliver that big push, not everyone does nor maintains the intensity. Non starters. In life, there are many who simply refuse to turn up at the start. Their only focus is on how difficult the track is. They limit themselves by fearing the crash. The chances of the business failing, getting passed over for the promotion, being hurt in a relationship. They worry about being ridiculed or criticized by others, or a myriad of other things that could go wrong. These folks abandon the hope and the promise that life offers. They abandon the hope and the promise that life offers. They sit back and watch those who have the courage to go for the ride surge ahead. Unmotivated, uninspired, they do just enough to get by. Joggers. Joggers take to the start, but instead of pushing with all their might, they choose instead to jog, to take their time. They surmise that if they leave the top of the hill with less speed, they minimize their risk of crashing. They want to play it safe. Unwittingly, they don't realize that the track doesn't care how fast you are going. Each turn is still perilous. Foolishly, their effort is half hearted at best. Their input on the job is lackadaisical, their indifference in their relationships glaringly obvious. They refuse to do anything to improve their current level of skill and make very little blah, 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 blah. They make very little effort to expand their point of view. They and others like them live by the mantra, at least we tried. They find a comfortable place where they can skate by and essentially choose mediocrity. Like non starters, they live compromised lives, hanging on to the illusion of what is instead of striving for what could be. They have no vision. Pushers. These are the people who approach life with a balls to the wall attitude. They are not content living life vicariously through their heroes. While they may look up to these people, they acknowledge that they are made of the same stuff and have the same potential for greatness. Unlike non starters and joggers, who constantly take an inventory of their shortcomings, pushers refuse to allow what others may consider a disadvantage, race, gender, age, family background, or any other obstacle to stand in their way. These obstacles do not intimidate them. On the contrary, they attack them with a sense of urgency and use them as fuel to propel their success. Pushers are possibility thinkers. They dedicate themselves to a lifetime of growth and achievement. We shall continue with the rest next week. In lesson 1, chapter 2, push past your limitations. Do you remember Larry Bird, an American basketball player for I think it was Boston? They're from Boston. I don't know. Green color uniform. Push yourself again and again. Don't give an inch until the final buzzer sounds. Normnich. Hello. It's good to see you all. So keep on pushing hot lessons from cool runnings. You will find that when you have a good purpose in life, you will be more energized and able to get up faster in the mornings because you know that you are doing something helpful to society, something positive rather than negative. And this gentleman here is giving us lessons on how to keep on pushing. So we shall see you with this book next Sunday. We think today is Wednesday. So it'll be on Sunday that we show this book and again, and we will talk to you then. Okay? Old Kinderhood.